Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am coming to you on this, what day is it? Let me look. Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. Woo, that went. Anyway, and I am here with another update video. It's been about 5 or so weeks since my last update, and so I have a fair few things to show you. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to say welcome. If you're a returning viewer, then thank you ever so much for coming back video to video. I've noticed a slight uptick in the subscribers despite my absence, and so hey, and thank you for subscribing. If you are new here, I hope that you like what you see. This is a channel that's mostly about cross-stitch, although I do talk about books, not today, and knitting today. And then I also tend to talk about some life stuff because they are one and the same. My crafty life and my real life, I guess. So that's kind of what you can expect to see here today. And so I hope that you enjoy and find reason to come back, subscribe if you like. Appreciate it. So it's been 5 weeks or so, give or take. I have a few things to show you, a fair few things, but not like a ton. I've only worked on 5 projects. I have a little bit of stash and some stitchy kindness that I picked up out of my mailbox just before filming here. I'm so excited. And then some knitting, and then some life stuff. I would like to do a little bit of a Baby Does Stuff update, but you can find that at the very end of the video because I know not everybody's here for that. So you're welcome to go on your merry way before I start talking about that. As always, in the description box of this video, there's a ton of information in there, including timestamps. If you roll all the way to the bottom of the description box beneath the video, you will find timestamps. If you're on a PC, laptop, I don't know if it works on tablets, and I don't know if it works on other phones other than, I know it doesn't work on iPhone, but you can actually click on those timestamps and it will zoom you right to the spot. So you can pick and choose which sections you want to watch if some things don't meet your fancy. Because I talk about a wide variety of things, and I know not everybody's able to watch the whole movie or just, you know, doesn't want to. So anyway, so that is available to you. So before I start talking about some whips, I have a few preamble-y things. I have some Q&A stuff, but if I'm being totally honest, most of it is going to go into the relevant segments. It just makes more sense further on down the line rather than like a mass Q&A section here. But one thing I did want to point out, Julie from Stitching at the Cabin, there's a yarn that I showed in my last video. It was from So Livy Dyes Yarn. And I wasn't sure what it was going to be when it grew up. And Julie had the most brilliant, beyond brilliant idea of turning it into a baby sweater. Like, of course, that would be fantastic for Baby Does Stuff. So, we are in the process of packing our house. That's why there's like nothing going on here. We're moving like in the next few weeks. And so my yarn was unfortunately one of the first things to get packed, which means it's at the bottom of a pile of boxes that I cannot get to. So once the move happens, then I'll be able to pull that out, wind it up, and get that started. But I do have a pattern in mind. And Julie, thank you for that suggestion. That was the light bulb that I needed. But that's further on down the line. Okay, and then a couple of other comments to talk about, but like I said, we'll do that later. And then there's, okay, I took some notes. Yeah, me, notes. Who'da thunk? WIPGO 2021. WIPGO 2021 is absolutely a thing. There's going to be a couple of changes, both additions and modifications to WIPGO for next year. But I'm going to talk about that in a separate video, which I hope to film very early next week. so that I can get that both out to the WIPGO group as well as here on YouTube. For those who are interested in WIPGO, you want to learn more about it, you've seen Pam and staff talk about it, or you've seen it mentioned all over FlossTube, and you're curious what this WIPGO mumbo jumbo means. So you can expect that video sometime early next week. Fingers crossed that I have the opportunity to be able to film that next week. Okay, Sarcy Girl, that's SARCYGURL on Instagram. She's also part of a duo here on FlossTube. She released an epic pandemic sampler. I'll insert a picture so that you can see it. Epic. And it's free. She's made it available for free. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. It's kind of taken the sampler stitching world by storm. I just saw that Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions, I'm name dropping like crazy today. It is what it is. For her birthday sale in 2021, so March of next year, she's doing the pandemic sampler sale. It's stunning, y'all. Like seriously, get on this thing. I'm blown away by the creativity that went into it and the genius of it, and also that she's just letting everybody have it. So I'm going to link her Instagram down below so that you can head on over there, head on over to her Instagram. Be sure to follow her, give her a whole bunch of likes, and get that sampler, because how cool. It's linked in her Instagram, that's why I mention it. Okay, next is a stitch along that I would like to get started. I made mention of this a couple of weeks ago, and it's still hashtagless, but it's fine. We have time to figure that out. And it is the Oh Joyous Day Sal. Oh Joyous Day by Blackbird Designs. So we're going to do a stitch along for this design on Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021. And some more details are yet to be ironed out, but I'm making mention of it here just in case it's a while before I can do another regular update video. And so you guys can kind of start planning, pulling threads and fabrics if you need it, or pulling projects. For those of you participating in No New Starts 2021, perhaps you want to get it started, because like totally whips apply. That's totally okay. But Inauguration Day next year, it's kind of a big deal. It's just really, really exciting. Oh, joyous day. Let's swear in President-elect Joe Biden. Very cool. So we're going to have a stitch along for that. Yeah, get your patterns ready. My books with my patterns was the second thing that we packed. So I'm inserting a picture here so that you can see what that pattern looks like, so that you guys can go get it, and you just gather your stuff. Get ready. Hashtag to be determined. And if anybody has any genius ideas, y'all let me know. Okay. I think that's it for the things that I wanted to talk about. Inevitably, something will pop up later on. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over and talk about some works in progress. Some of the things that I have worked on in the last few weeks. When last we spoke, I was working on my Chatelaine Poison Garden, or Hortus Venenum, if Latin is your thing. And I made mention of the fact that I did go back and watch that video because it's been a long time and I couldn't remember when or where I was. I made mention of the fact that I wasn't sure if I was going to work on it for just one more day or a couple more days or what I was going to do. I ended up working on it for a few more days. So let me go ahead and show you the progress. And see, I had this all folded up nice and then I just went and ruined it. That's okay. Real quick materials run through. This is a 28 count antique white cashel linen from Zweigart. It's just a plain basic 28 count linen. And the threads and specialty fibers minus the DMC I got in a kit through European Cross Stitch. I will link that shop down below because that is the source for Chatelaine designs. Absolutely. Okay, so let me bring this in a little closer. Well, you see the overall, and you can see this border. There's 2 lines of border there. This pale color that kind of blends in, and then the deep dark blue. I didn't quite reach the bottom because, like I think I showed you last time, I couldn't quite. No, that wasn't last time. Never mind. I couldn't quite get to the bottom, so just because of where my frame sat. So then we'll just go ahead and bring it in up close so you can see the progress that I made since last time. I was working in this corner here, just kind of this outer edge. And I like to start with the cross stitch. So I do all of the cross stitch in an area first, and then work on specialty stitches. And usually with the cross stitch, I will go DMC first, then silks, and then metallics or pearls, if she calls for any pearls. And that's kind of my order of operations, if you will, for how I tackle sections of this design. And then it's specialty stitches in that same kind of thread order. Like last time, I filmed a little clip when I finished up my rotation with this, when I was finished stitching as far as I wanted to get. So I will insert that here in just a moment so that you can see some close-ups, because there's rice stitches coming in up here and you can't see them, and I know that I can't get it in close enough for you to be able to see how cool those are. So I think that's all of the things that I wanted to say about this. So I'll go ahead and insert that clip here. Hey there everybody, good evening. It is Sunday night, about 8 o'clock, and I am putting down my needle for today and on this project. And so I thought that, like last time, I would film a little bit of a close-up because, like I said before, the details just get lost on video. And to be totally honest, after adding all of the elements, the details get lost anyway. But let me bring you in close and show you what I accomplished since my last update video. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So let me think. When I filmed last, I had started this Petite Silk Lame braid inner border, and I brought that down and around part the way, not quite all the way, and that also kind of continued in here. And then I was going to try to tackle half of this, of all of this, but it was a lot. So I just decided to stick to 1/4 of that, or just one corner, and to try to get basically all of this done. That was not to be, which is okay. I still feel pretty good about the progress. So let's come in close on the specialty stitches, because I started with the cross stitch. So all of the cross stitch in this corner is done, with the exception of a couple of Petite Treasure braid, but it makes a little bit more sense to hold off on that. Anyway, besides the point. So then just tonight I got started working on the rice stitches, and there are 4 different essentially colorways of these rice stitches, and each of them calls for 3 colors. Yeah, so it's a little intense. There's kind of a lot going on. These here are missing their tacking cross, which I have yet to do. The same with these 3 here. These have another leg of the sort of like crossbar, and then the tacking cross. These are, you know, obviously haven't been started yet. And then these have just the base cross. So yeah, there's a lot going on with those rice stitches, and I reached a point tonight where I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. Um, I guess that's a product of Sweewee. I get to a point where I'm done, and and then it's time to move on. I am loving this. I mean, really, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but it's gorgeous. Anyway, I think that's everything for the close-up update. I will get you back to the other video. Thanks, guys. Pretty cool. I really enjoyed this. I think that my WhipGo 2020 goal for this was 10 days, and I ended up giving it 11 or 12. And I didn't really want to switch, but I also knew that I needed to switch to work on some other things. Dark October stitching is entirely too short, and there's just not enough time for all of the things. Okay, so on my last video, I had a question from somebody about chatelaine stitching, and she basically, Sarah, asked if I had any advice for newbie chatelaine stitchers. So, I have a few things. First of all, it's a big project. It's a big project, and they're complex and complicated. And sometimes they require you to interpret what Martina means versus what she wrote down. Okay, but just take your time with it, and you can totally manage. A chatelaine was one of the earlier projects that I tackled, and it was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a good challenge. All of that to say, a few things that will make your life easier. If you are going the kit route, I will reiterate European cross stitch. You can piecemeal the materials. You can absolutely do that. You can go and buy your silks. If you decide to go the silks route, you can buy them in little bits if you'd like. But European cross stitch it far exceeds any expectations you might have for cost effectiveness. They just do a really great job. They put together a really nice kit, and they somehow find a way to save you some dollars. I don't know how they do it, because silks are expensive, but they do save you some money in that regard. So even if you decide you don't want to go the silks route, you want to do the DMC conversion, which go for it, because I have seen some beautiful DMC chatelaines. You absolutely can do that. Still use European cross stitch for beads, because sourcing beads is kind of difficult sometimes, especially the millions of colors that are called for. In fact, let me show you the bead pack for this. And this is pretty bead heavy. I don't know if it's one of the more bead heavy ones. Did you hear that? But let's see if I can find it quickly here. I'll just pull this out so that y'all can see this. These are all the silks and treasure braids. This is my Karen Water Lilies ring. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Okay, set that over there. There we go. This. So sourcing this many colors of beads would be difficult on its own. And then you inevitably, like the smallest bags I've seen of beads are 2.5 grams, which for a lot of these is 5 times the amount what you need. And then, like, what are you going to do with 4 grams of iridescent volcano purple delicas? I made that up. I don't know if that's an actual thing. Yeah, so even if you decide to go a different route for the threads for your chatelaine, European cross stitch can't be beat. And I think they have a Black Friday sale running all month. So something to keep in mind. Okay, some other advice that I would have. Chatelaine designs, more often than not, and of course there are some exceptions. She's got some other style designs, but a lot of them are mandalas. and symmetrical. So my advice would be to either using an air soluble, not a water soluble, because you're not going to want to wash this thing, but an air soluble pen to draw an up arrow or stitch an up arrow or somehow indicate to yourself what the top is. Because you will inevitably get confused. I always use the selvage edge of my fabric as the top, but that doesn't always work for some people. And it's really important to stick that in the middle if you stitch on a Q-snap, because if you put that at the top, you'll get that Q-snap twist turned all around. So that's a piece of advice. Let me think what else. I'm going to link in the description box below a Facebook group. It is called the Chatelaine Support Group. It is absolutely invaluable. It was absolutely invaluable before Martina passed, and since, it's just exponentially grown that more important. Because, like I said before, sometimes you have to interpret what Martina meant versus what she actually wrote down. When I was working on Frosty, there was a typo. She meant one thread, but she listed another that wasn't in my kit. Like, it was a thing. And the Chatelaine support group is phenomenal with that. And you can get up close and personal with people's finishes, so that you can see some details of some sections that don't make sense in the chart. So I cannot stress enough Chatelaine support group. And the final piece of advice that I can think of off the top of my head here without any preparation whatsoever is a digital chart. Her charts are very expensive. They are not very reasonably priced. And so I know that picking up a Chatelaine design on Stash Unload for $10 is like, but a digital chart will save you a tremendous amount of headache. Because the digital charts, you can zoom in to see what color that backstitch line is. Poison Garden it far exceeds what Frosty Knot Garden was like, because Martina shows you the chart and it's cut up into 4 panels, 4 pages, so the 4 quadrants. And then she runs through a list of all of the things. Use this thread, and this thread for this rice stitch. Use this thread, and this thread for this rice stitch. It's phenomenal. But that's not always the case with these designs. Frosty Knot Garden, I had to zoom in real close on the back stitch lines to determine if that was mint green or mint blue, because that meant an entirely separate thread. So I cannot stress enough, get a digital chart, and you can get that from the Chatelaine website, linked in the description box below. If I mention it, I'll link it. So, and have fun. I guess that's the real thing. Have fun, enjoy it. It is a blast. It's its own separate animal as far as stitching is concerned. It's very different than anything else that I really do. It's great. Just great. Can't recommend Chatelaine enough. We lost a genius when she passed, and I just don't know if we'll ever see the likes of Martina in our lifetimes. I just don't know that anybody like her will ever come up. As much as I would like to say that would be me, I just don't have her genius with color and complexity. Yeah, I just don't. Anyway, so that is it for the Chatelaine, I think. Sarah, I hope that helps. Newbie Chatelaine stitchers, don't be afraid. You can do it. The stitches that she uses are not complicated. They're tedious, but they are not complicated. You can do it. Totally can do it. Following Poison Garden, I'm sure that I worked on in this moment for at least a little bit. I don't remember. I'm going to show you that project a little bit later. It makes more sense. I'm working on it now. the usual. So at some point after Poison Garden, I guess the timeline doesn't matter. I don't know why I always stress that, but anyway, at some point after Poison Garden, I pulled out Raven Queen. I do remember in my last video talking about kind of feeling some Mirabilia stitching, and so I fed that need. And so I worked on this for a few days. This needle minder is from No Name Needle Minders, who I understand is no longer doing needle minders. But it's an Edgar Allan Poe quote, and it says, "I became insane with long intervals of horrible sanity." I stuck that in because the sort of cut out of the front of her dress here kind of looks like Edgar Allan Poe. Fitting in it. So, Raven Queen, my oldest Mirabilia, and I am just so excited to have worked on this. So I'm going to show you overall, and then I'm going to bring it in close because there's a whole bunch of like odd things that I did. So we'll start down here because that's really where I started. Real quick run through, my fabric is a 32 count Belfast in Haunted by Picture This Plus. I know that Haunted has a little bit more purple in it now. This I think I bought in 2015, early 2015. So okay. So when you last saw this, I had just skirt. And so this time I went in and started on the stone structure, the stone wall sort of there behind her. And oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. It's not exactly confetti, but there's quite a few colors in there. And with the way that I like to stitch on this, it took a little bit of time, but nonetheless. The blank spot here is metallic. There's a ton of metallic that goes in there that I did not have at the time. Stay tuned. So I did that, and then I had a choice to make. I could do that again on this other side, or I could try to get to the top. And I contemplated, and I contemplated, and I contemplated over and over again, what's the best way for me to get to the top? Because I'm going to do her skin 1/1, because that's me. That's how I do things. And so in order to do her skin, in order for me to do that, I need to start from the top of her head and work my way down. So what is the best way for me to get to the top of her head? So I could try to work my way around the border, or I could try to stitch maybe up her side to try to get there. I could try to work my way up ever so slowly up this castle wall, or up this castle turret. I wonder what the best way to go is. And so ultimately I decided to go up the border and over. And I really hope that I don't come to regret that decision. I counted more times than I can say. I counted so many times. I am praying that this is all correct, and I hope that you all will join me in that, that this is placed correctly, because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it's not. If I'm off by a stitch or 5, because that's really what it would be. It would be like 5 or 8 stitches off. In either direction, it would be bad. It would be bad. So, y'all, I got a little brave, I guess. So what I did is I worked, let's see, this border has 3 colors in it, DMC, and then 2 water lilies, and then a bead in this border. So I worked the black all the way up, and then all the way over, and then I worked in the first of the water lilies colors, which is Midnight or Twilight, or it doesn't say on the materials list. I think it's Midnight. It's a deep dark blue, super deep dark blue. You may be able to barely tell the difference between that and the Anchor Black, actually, that I'm using for this. So worked my way over, and then I started working my way down the arch here. So this design is originally done on Touch of Gray linen by Witchelt or Ada. So it's this pale gray, and I went darker, obviously. So up here in this arch, she's left it negative because the fabric can provide some color there. It can add some texture and it can provide some color there. Changing the fabric. I don't know how that looks. I'm not sure how I feel about that. This gray stone, marbly looking castle archway with green coming through. I don't know. So I haven't done anything about it yet, and I'm gonna keep going, and get more of that done before I determine if that's gonna really bother me or not. Weigh in, y'all. Let me know. Does it look weird? Do I need to fill in that, or does it kind of just look like a chunk and pieces are missing out of the archway? Maybe that's it. It looks like pieces are missing, like this castle is starting to fall apart. Well, I don't know. We shall see. Fabric is a little bit darker than you're seeing there. Yeah. But see, when I step back, like, it doesn't even matter. So maybe that's the thing. Step back, 3-foot rule. It was really cool. I was feeling the mood to work on this, and then I see Lily at 42 Stitches. She recently started Raven Queen on Haunted. And I was just like, that's just too cool. Too cool. And I was already feeling the mood, so decided to get it started. So in years past with my Mirabilia focus projects, I have essentially taken the pattern and chopped it up into sections or goal lines to reach each month. This year, 2020, is the first year in, I think, 4 years, maybe 5, that I haven't had a Mirabilia finish. Or Nora Corbett. And that's weird. Like, that's just weird to me to not have a single Mirabilia or Nora Corbett finish. I did have 2 Pretty Lady finishes, and so I'm not, like, totally beating myself up or anything. But it's weird. And so I would like to fix that in the new year. And so I have done the same thing with this chart. I have broken it up into sections that are about, I think, 25 stitches. No, I don't have my working copies. I think it's about 25 stitches deep by the width to work on to try to get this finished next year. And I can't remember how long that'll take me. I guess a little over 10 months total. Because it's 280, yeah, 280 tall. And I have a huge chunk of it done already. So I think that that's pretty reasonable. I mean, yes, there's a bunch of 1/1 skin, and Baby Does Stuff's arrival is impending. Which is sure to do away with all of my plans. So, stitchy plans. So, yeah, we'll see. But it's kind of a goal. We'll call it that. It's just a goal. It's a goal line to get to. And it includes these last 2 months here in 2020. I haven't worked on it yet this month, obviously. But nonetheless. With the exception of the 3rd color in the border, and this castle turret, gosh, I'm spending a lot of time on each of these. The top bit of this castle turret does kind of crest into my goal for October. That my first section is done So with the exception of the border color and that little bit of back stitch, I'm on pace already, which is good. So, and I'm gonna bead at the end because that's my favorite way of doing things, and I don't have the beads and I have to get delicas because that's my way. So that is it for Raven Queen for now. If I behave, if I get to it, I will work on this in the next couple of weeks so that I can get my November goal and continue the way down. So there's that. I suppose we're getting into November because I did work on this next project here in November. And it was one of my WIPCO draws for November. And one that I knew would not take a whole lot to get accomplished because it was just a time-based goal. So this is Beauty and the Beast by DoNa Stitch. I worked on this for a couple of days earlier this year. I think I worked on it for 2 days earlier this year. My goal for the year was just 5 days, so I needed 3, and then I was done. I think this was leading into the last 24 hours of cross stitch too. So anyway, so now you know kind of when this is. Let's talk about this needle minder. I get asked about this needle minder all the time, and y'all, I'm very sorry. I am fairly certain that I got this from somebody who's no longer doing needle minders. I did a quick search on Gina's Unique Boutique because she does this style, this rhinestone, glitter, heavy duty minder aesthetic. It's a lot of what she's got. And I didn't see anything like this. If anything pops up, I will be sure to let y'all know. But until that point, I'm afraid I don't know where it can be found at this point. So I got to work on my Beauty and the Beast, or I think it's called Belle now, on DoNa Stitch's shop on Etsy, linked below. So pulled this out to work on for a few days. Like Poison Garden, it got more time than it was supposed to, but I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. Get goals and time and anyway. So fabric here is a 32 count Belfast in cream from Zweigart. And I've got some messy part threads here. There we go. Ta-da! That is where I am up to. I started this project for Mania 2016. It's fine. It's not a big deal. And I'm using all of the called for DMC threads. So this is a bunch of black color stitching, which I have to be in the mood for. I got to be in the mood for that. And I was for these couple of days. Really, the reason that I worked on this for longer than I was supposed to is I wanted a page finish once and for all. Yeah, so I got page 1 completely finished now. The bottom of page 1 comes to here. And I'm really close on a page finish on page 2 as well. I think all I have left to do is the white accent. So the sort of dew droplets, if you will, on the petals, and then the stem, the veins of the leaf here are done in white. And I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time, so. But yeah, I think that's all I have to do for page 2. So I could have another page finish, which would be great. This is it takes me I have to be in the mood for it, but it is a lot of fun to work. And if I need a bunch of stitches for insert challenge here, this is a good one. It's a good one. So that's what I got to on my Beauty and the Beast. And I really, really enjoyed working on that. Oh, I've been meaning to show you the backs of my things and I keep forgetting. This one it's kind of cheating a little bit. Just because it's, you know, black color, so yeah. There it is. That's the back. I'll see if I can remember to show you the back on these last two. So that was Beauty and the Beast. Here was my plan for 24 hours of cross stitch. It was the last 24 hours of cross stitch for 2020. It's probably my last 24 hours of cross stitch for a while. I don't expect I'm going to be able to play along next year. Maybe, but we'll see. We shall see. So here was my plan. Beauty and the Beast through Friday. Saturday, new start. Sunday, back to In This Moment. Here's what happened. Beauty and the Beast for a little bit on Friday. Saturday, Danny went board gaming. Thor wasn't feeling so great. So it was more Beauty and the Beast because I didn't want to switch yet. And Moana while hanging out with Thor. Just snuggled up on the couch. And then Sunday, new start, a little bit. There was a big nap. So my 24 hours of cross stitch, my last one, like total bust, absolute bust. Which is okay. It's all good. I stitched when I could, and so that's really all that matters. So the new start that I had on Sunday officially was this adorableness. Forgive the colors. It's much more vibrant than this. My printer doesn't know what to do with itself. I was able to get, like blues where blues are and pinks where pinks are. But that's about all I can ask of my printer. So this is Dumbo by MandarinksDesigns. And I'm going to name and blame Alma from Alma's Little Wonders. She has been showing her Bilbo's Home piece for the last few months. I mean, she started it, I think, early this year. Alma, correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching. But she's been showing it pretty consistently as of late. And every time I'm like, I don't need another Etsy designer. I don't need to go look at another Etsy designer. Let me go peek. And so I went over there, and this was one of the first things I saw. We are doing Baby Does Stuff's room in pink and yellow and gray/elephants. You seeing what I'm seeing? Pink and yellow and elephant. Yeah. So it was serendipity. It was meant to be. It had to happen. There are several other things in my wish list from MandarinksDesigns. She's got some great pop culture stuff. Disney is kind of the big thing. So she is a Russian designer, so you can expect blends and half stitch and back stitch. And that is definitely the case with this one, and I'm just so excited about it. So thrilled. So in full coverage fanatics, in order for a piece to qualify, it needs to be 95% stitched. And you can see that there is some negative space here, up here, and then behind this needle minder. Yeah, there's some negative space. And this clocks in at 93.7%. So it doesn't quite qualify for full coverage fanatics, which is a bummer, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's a really little design. It's 80 by 117, I think. So anyway, showing it for long enough. My fabric. When looking at that Etsy listing for the pattern, there are several people who have stitched it and either model stitched it for her or sent in their finished pieces, and she's included in the listing. And the one on a cream is beautiful, it's gorgeous, and the one on a hot pink is so cute. Like it's just the best way to do it. And I knew that in my stash I had a hot pink. This is 32 count Florin from Under the Sea Fabrics, Belfast linen, in pink, just super pink. I thought about doing it on Love Child, which is also pretty pink, or Winter Sky. Both of those are also by Under the Sea with pink. But Winter Sky has a lot of blue in it, which would have been cool. That would have been okay. And Love Child, mine has some pretty big gray splotches on it that just weren't gonna fly. Dumbo, fly, get it? But when I laid the threads against this and had a look at the Etsy listing again, I was just like, this just is pink. Winter Sky, Winter Sunset. Winter Sunset has other colors mixed in. This is just pink. So it had to be pink. It had to be Florin. And let's face it, this has been in my stash forever. I'm pretty sure that this is not any longer in her line. I'm sure that you can find a pink dyed fabric, but it's been in my stash forever unused. So here was a great opportunity. And you can see that I was really super careful about my fabric usage here. Oops. Yeah. And off the edges too. I've got like 7 inches off both sides. But anyway. So bring this in close. Oh, once again, a mess of bark threads. So that y'all can see this. So I worked on this, I think, for 3 days. And I think I'm at 24% complete in 3 days. So not only is it little, but the background is all half stitch. So it goes really quick. There's a lot of colors in there. Like I said before, blends. And just several colors being used, but it still goes really quick. I think I've zeroed out 4 colors already. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I got to on my little Dumbo. When I was working on this, I posted on Instagram, and I'm going to reiterate it here. Don't watch Dumbo. Don't do it. Especially the baby mine scene. I thought I was going to try to like get in the mood working on this and having a sentimental stitching moment and feeling baby does stuff. And I just sobbed. I just sobbed. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. I looked up the baby mine scene from the original Dumbo. I haven't seen the new one, but from the original, and I just cried. Like I was like, oh, this is torturous. Like this is a bad idea. Don't do it. Just learn from my mistakes. Don't do it. Yeah, Disney was mean. Anyway, so that is my progress on Dumbo so far, and I look forward to pulling this back out a few more times and finishing it. It shouldn't take a whole lot. Yeah, it shouldn't. I'm also fairly close to the bottom here. It's little, super little. So that is Dumbo. I'm gonna use this to segue. Haley asked this question, and I think that she asked it on my Instagram as well as a comment on my last video. It was either on Instagram or it was on Facebook somewhere. Anyway, I'm sure that other people have this same question, and that is, what tablet do you use for Pattern Keeper? Most of you know that I'm an Apple girl. I have an iPhone. Technically, you are on an Apple laptop right now. And Pattern Keeper is not currently iOS supported. From what I know, from what I understand, they're working on it, but it takes some time, and iOS has all sorts of hoops to jump through. So, from what I understand, it's coming, but no timeline on that. It was a year, but that was a year ago, so who knows. Anyway, I use a Kindle Fire. And I picked this up at the bitter end of 2019. I think it was on sale, like an end of year sale or something on Amazon. And I think that this is a 7th gen. But because I'm an iOS person, I have no idea how to find that information. Except to look in my purchase history. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's a 7th gen. Oh, what? Reflection. So yeah, and it works great. I'm going to link a Facebook group in the description box below. It is called Stitching with Pattern Keeper. In that group, you can find out all sorts of information, troubleshooting. You can get advice on various tablets that people have invested in if you're not an Android user. And most important, in that group, there is a file that tells you how to essentially break open your Kindle so that you can put the Google Play Store in it so that you can download Pattern Keeper onto it. That is all that I use this for. I have a Paperwhite, a Kindle Paperwhite that I use for books. Use. I haven't read in weeks, months. Anyway, so this is, it's literally the only purpose that I have this for is just for Pattern Keeper. And it's great. It works just great. So highly recommend. If you're looking for something cost effective and you don't really intend to do a whole lot. I don't know about future generations of Kindle, but sometimes this one gets a little slow. Like if I try to look at too many files in a very short period of time, it tends to like, slow down, Jess. I don't work as fast as you do. So something to keep in mind. Okay, that's a great segue because I use that for Dumbo and in this moment. So I'm going to show you in this moment. Now, when I last talked to you all, I was working on page 37. I have since finished page 37, and then I finished page 14, and I am now actively working on page, we'll call it Franken page 20 and a half. More on that here in a minute. So, because it's on my frame, it's all rolled up, and I'm not going to unroll it, but you will see in my before and afters page 37 before when I showed it to you last time, and then the finished page. Because, yeah, I'm just not going to unroll it for that. It's in, like, the greatest spot ever. So, yeah, there she is. Wait, let me show you this side. So, this is where I am at currently. So, up here is page 14, and you can basically see the border of it. I think it cut off like around here. So, that is page 14. So, I now have 2 rows done. And then I got into page 20, and page 20 was confetti right off the bat. This leaf here was halfway in page 13 and halfway in page 20, so it was finished off the leaf, connect it to the vine. This leaf also had to be connected to the vine on this page. This flower bud here is partially on this page. Then the vine continues this way and comes down, like, it was a lot. It was a lot in a small section. Which is great for me, because I like a little bit of confetti. So there is that. A couple of days ago, I hit my latest milestone. I am over 200,000 stitches done. Over 200,000 stitches into this. Total, not this year, but total. And a milestone that I reached that I didn't post about on Facebook or Instagram, so you guys here are getting the first view of it, is that the vine is all connected, which means that the vine that started all the way over here and all the way up top on page 1 is now complete. The vine is all done. I mean, it's not done, but it's connected. It's all one vine now. That's kind of cool. That's been in progress for 5 years, and it's now done. Wild to me, wild, coming towards the end here. I have 3 zeroed out colors, and 2 more will happen on this page that I know of for certain. They will happen in my next diagonal. I'll zero out a couple more colors, which is just fascinating to me. So here's the thing. I'm very excited about the fact that I have reached 200,000 stitches and in fact surpassed it. But that means that I have 77,000 stitches left, give or take. 77,000. Put it into perspective, mini purl, I checked yesterday, 75,000. So I still have a whole mini HAED left to do here. Bananas. There's still a whole another project. So I was really excited, and I did my little happy dance for 200,000, and then I calmed myself down and was like, okay, but that does not mean that we're at the end here. We still have a ways to go. I have 5 colors done, or I will, and it's a total of 90. So, like, yeah. So anyway, so that's where I'm up to. Okay. Stitching page 14 was awful. It was an uncomfortable experience. It's so far on the edge of my frame. I don't have the extra long L bar for my Lowry. I have a please notify me if you get these back in stock, please, Fire Poppies, because page 14 taught me that I absolutely need that. It's just a really uncomfortable stitching situation. I've got to lean really far over to be able to get to that side, and my stitches don't look great. On top of the fact, with this selvage right here, the tension is extremely good right here, and then it gets a little bit looser. And it gets a little better as you get towards the middle, but this selvage really interrupts the even tension. So I could get some of those thingamabobs that help with side tensioning. Side tensioners, I think is actually what they're called. But until I invest in those, I'm just having to suck it up, buttercup, and it's just not exactly a lot of fun stitching. With, I like to have my tablet, my Kindle, just kind of resting on my frame there so that I can, without having to move my eyes too far, I can look at pattern and stitching almost at the same time. So I don't have it on a stand separate. And what I find is that I'm out of space. I'm out of space when I'm working on this far side here, this far right side. There's not exactly enough room for it to sit up between like here, but there's also not enough room for it to lay horizontally here. So it's just not it's just kind of an inconvenient, uncomfortable stitching experience. So what I have decided to do, at least for now, until I get either a bigger frame or an extra long L bar, is I'm going to work pages 20 and 21 together at the same time. I haven't quite reached the edge of page 20 yet, but I'm about to on my next diagonal. And because I stitch in diagonals, that's kind of what's going to give me this ability to do this, at least for the bulk of page 21. Because, yeah, I'll have some uncomfortable blocks here, and then as I get over here, then things will free up a little bit, and I'll have, it'll just be a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. And then I'll come back up here and deal with some uncomfortable stitches for a little while, and then it'll free up a little bit. So it sort of gives me that balance, rather than just, I mean, a week and a half straight of, I don't really feel like stitching because my back hurts at the end, and yeah, my back hurts all the time. So I don't want stitching to make my back hurt, you know. Anyway, so that's kind of my plan. Plus, it means that I don't have to scroll. She can just sit here exactly as she is. And I'll have a third row. I'll have a third row done. I think I'm at 87,000 for the year. And my goal is 100,000. So I'm 13,000 away, which means that finishing this page and this Franken page and starting on page 26. So this one down here. You can't see that. This one down here. That will get me to 100,000 easily. However, the whole impetus for this 100,000 is the National Parks Challenge with Full Coverage Fanatics. And with the way that I count on this, I don't count actual stitches. I count, in my personal tracking, I count by blocks completed. And so what that means is that all of the parks I have exceeded 4,000 stitches. And so I have 3.5 parks left to get, which equates to like 14,000. It's not quite that much. It's a little bit above what I need to get to 100,000 stitches this year. I'm going to surpass 100,000 in order to get the National Parks Challenge completed. So I'll get further into page 26 by the end of the year, which is okay. That's pretty cool. I don't know that I'll get page 26 finished by the end of the year, but maybe. We shall see. With moving and the holidays, whatever that actually means this year, and baby prep, there's just really no telling what kind of stitching I'm going to be able to have over the next few weeks, but that's the hope. The hope is that I can get National Parks done and my 100,000. And so that'll be pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk. I had a comment from Sarah, Stitchin' Mommy. She said that she wasn't sure if my plan was to finish in this moment or kind of what my goal was with this project, but she pointed out the Full Coverage Fanatics event next year is 21 in 2021. So it's sort of a continuation of this year's 20 in 2020. I can't believe I said that all in one try. Pat on the back. Where the goal is to do 21,000 stitches in the year 2021. And so my intention is to absolutely do that challenge at the bare minimum. But I really, I want to finish this next year. I could talk more about 2021 goals and plans some other time. But essentially I think I'm taking 2 goals with me into 2021. And that is In This Moment and Raven Queen. I'd like to finish both of them. And really, I could even scrap the Raven Queen goal. I want to finish In This Moment. I'm hearing from several folks on FlossTube talking about full coverage finish goals for next year, and I want to be a part of that club. I know the, what do they call themselves? The Stitchketeers? Y'all, that's just great. Let me think if I can think of everybody. Lydia, Lovely Stitches. Debbie, Creatively Yours. Jemima, The Rocking Stitcher. Yantina Stitches. Is Alice a part of that group, y'all? Alice, who we don't know. So it's a group of 5 stitchers, Dutch stitchers, and they call themselves the Stitchketeers. which is adorable. And they have sort of made a pact that they're going to try to finish a full coverage next year. And I've heard similar echoes from others. I'm sure that Kim Hollenbach, Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, I'm sure that she has a full coverage finish goal for next year. And Fiber Floss and Fiction. Alma? Zakia? Do y'all have... There's a bunch of people that I have heard talk about full coverage finish, and I want to join you. I want to be in there too. Don't leave me out. Sarah, come join us. You're going to finish Quick Stitch Iris next year, aren't you? Let's do this. Like, let's finish a full coverage. And I want it to be this one. The premise for my plan for next year is my 2015 projects, and this is my oldest WIP currently. And I want it finished next year. So, but I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see what that looks like. See what the possibilities of that are going to be. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, that's my speech on In This Moment. I'm loving her. I am so excited working on this page because it means I'm going to get to, I'm going to essentially finish out the vine entirely, like flowers and leaves and all, in this Franken page. It'll be done. I'm also going to get to the other swan's neck again, and also wingtip a couple of times. I don't have my pattern cover to be able to show you. Oh, yes, I do. So yeah, so it cuts off around here. So you guys can see there's some wingtip. The vine will be just done. It'll be really cool. Really enjoying her. Not sure when I'm going to put her down. So anyway, I mention all of that just to say that, like, I'm just kind of on my own path with stitching right now. I found that I set far too lofty goals for the year. And if there is one that I wanted to accomplish, it was this. It was this. So that's kind of where I'm putting the bulk of my focus these days. On top of that, it helps with the semi-chaos that is moving during a pandemic while pregnant at the holidays. It helps to have just kind of one project going. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at with participating in events and things. If my stitching lines up, cool. If it doesn't, oh well. So there's that. Okay. I think that's it for the whips. Plans are, I'm going to work on In This Moment for a while. And then Raven Queen is going to come out at some point this month. We don't have a whole lot of time left this month. November is, typically speaking, like just bananas, but college football is on TV this season. And we have made the decision that we're not going to do anything for Thanksgiving this year. We're not going to go get together with family. COVID it's too much right now. It's too much in the United States. There's just a lot of that virus floating around, and I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to be on the first-hand notice or first-hand knowledge of what COVID means for a newborn. Not interested. Yeah, not interested. So we're just going to hunker down. And we're going to make dinner here. Whether that's a traditional turkey dinner or not, we shall see. But anyway, what that means is that I will have more stitching time than I would in a typical November, because there's no traveling happening. So that's that. So we'll see what I work on over the next couple of weeks, and I will report back. Okay, let's keep it moving, and we are going to talk about some recent acquisitions. Okay, so just a little bit of stash, not a whole lot here. I need some needles. I typically go through needles really fast. Something in my hands rusts right through them. They tarnish so fast. And fun with hormones these days, it's even faster. If I have a really good stitching day, like where I can get, let's say I do 1,000 stitches, it takes me 2 needles to do that. I can usually get through 1 block on In This Moment before I have to run it through my emery strawberry to try to clean up some of that tarnish. I hate that feeling of the tarnish going through. Oh, I hate that. So I usually get through 1 block before I have to run it through the emery. So I needed some needles. So I bought some needles, but like you can't just buy needles. So I bought some threads I need for Raven Queen. So this is the last of the water lilies. I think it calls for 3 water lilies. And I didn't have this one for some reason, so picked that up. And Raven Queen calls for vintage Krynic as well as cable. And I salute you, Lily and others who have used the cable. I have it. I bought it. I took 1 look at it and said, no, thank you. No, thank you. So I converted all of the, dropping them. I converted all of the Krynics to Treasure Braid because I cannot. I don't see the benefit of using the cable. I don't see why that would be more important than gold. And the vintage amber, its closest conversion, it's not a great conversion because it's the vintage amber is a little bit dull, but it's closest to this pumpkin-y orange color. So I will be using these and not the Krynics because no thank you. Yeah, so I picked those up. But some threads and needles can't travel alone. And somebody was working on this on my Instagram. Dear Daughter by Blackbird Designs. Yeah, this had to happen. How precious. Really, really gorgeous. Yep. So, Baby Does Stuff's info is totally going in here. Yep. Really, really cool. I may start this sooner rather than later. Because I think that I'm playing along with 21 No New Starts 2021. So I think that I need to start this before the new year. I'm on the fence about that challenge. I'm on the fence about it, I'll be honest. But anyway, no matter. Love this. Super excited about it. Dear Daughter of mine. Goodness, how perfect. Okay. Last bit of haul. I'm not going to go through these individually. But these are nest egg for October, I believe. I get 10 5-yard skeins of Gentle Art sampler threads and some fun Happy Brights here. Yeah, pretty colors. Is there any that were previously harder to come by? I guess bubblegum and green apple because we are in the M's for the majority of these. Oh, cottage blue. Moonlit Path. I think I needed that for something. Though I can't remember what. Anyway, so those are those. Very cool. Love getting the nest egg. And then some stitchy kindness. You told me that you were going to send this, but I wasn't sure if you were being serious. Sorry for the crinkle, y'all. It's in a plastic bag, and I'm just going to pull that out so that we don't have that crinkle. And this needs to be opened. So I got a surprise package in the mail from Bendy Stitchy, and it came with this gorgeous card. Super, super serene. Yeah, this one's gonna have to go in a frame, I think. So that's really great. And she got this. Yup. Does that scream hokey life or what? Incredible orange. Maroon to die for. It's not that magenta. It's more maroon. No. It's more maroon. It's not that pinky. Do I have a clue what's going on this very wild fabric? No. I do not. But oh my goodness. Thank you, Michelle. Long Dog Pandemic should go in this. That would be fun. I have no idea what thread I would use because up top I would want to use white or a light color, and at the bottom I would want to use black or a dark color. I don't know. The sticker on here says that it's a, oh, that's fun. It's like a rounded edge. 36 count Edinburgh linen. Yeah. It's an Edinburgh. Gorgeousness. It's really, really lovely. Thank you, Michelle. This was really, really awesome to receive. Feels like a hug, you know? Like a hug. So that is my stitchy kindness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that is all of my acquisitions. And I'm not expecting anything, I don't think. No, I don't think so. So let's switch over to knitting. It is after 4 o'clock. The sun is setting actively. I'm gonna lose the light here, so better keep it moving. And I'm going to talk about my one work in progress. As I said, all of the yarn is packed up and all of my whips are packed up with this one exception. This is the High Sierra Shawl by Romi Hill. And I'll just real quickly here show you the black and white of the design. I showed you this cast on last time. It is a 6-color shawl, 5 partial skeins. Let's not call them minis, let's call them partials. So 5 partial skeins and then 1 big body color. And I've done quite a bit. I had some uninterrupted knitting time in the last couple of weeks, and so that's what I did. ABC sometimes stands for always bring cross stitch and sometimes means always bring something crafty. So I've done quite a lot on this since you last saw it. When I was last working on it, I had just this pink panel and I was further up than this stitch marker. This stitch marker hasn't moved. It was supposed to, but it never did. That's okay. So I was further up here. I was a couple rows from the end of that panel. So I finished that panel and then did this bind off here. So I had this little triangle, little mini shawl, if you will, basically done. Then I picked up stitches and started working on this in the typical way that you work a shawl. And so now I'm working my way up this way. It's really, really cool construction. I talked about it at length last time, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. So I did the first striping section with the darker pink, and then it transitioned into the lighter pink. Then I worked the light pink panel on this side. You'll notice that it's not on this side, which is just fancy cool construction. And now I am working in the speckled white with the next section. And I have a couple more stripes to go before I do a lace panel in the white on this side. Only on this side. So it's just really cool construction. Really, really loving it. So let me bring it in close so that y'all can see this lace panel. It's really simple. It has a triple yarn over in the center of each of these diamonds that is kind of outlined with eyelets. I enjoyed that lace panel. So there's that. Again, it's in garter stitch, and so it will benefit tremendously from blocking at the end, but that's okay. It still shows up. I like how subtle the transition is between the dark pink and the light pink. Like, if I didn't say that those were two different colors, you might not be able to tell that in this section there are two different colors there. On this side here, we get the third color of stripes right away. This is just really fun. It's a lot of fun to work. I haven't knit on it in a couple of days because I wanted it to be in this sort of triangle configuration when I showed it to you all. It's a lot harder when I've got half of the stitches being held while I'm doing a lace panel on the other. It's a lot more cumbersome than it needs to be. So anyway, so this is where I'm at currently. And I will get back to knitting on it. And so the color that I'm working now is this one, the white speckle, which is officially called Chawton Cottage. My partials or minis are mostly from a Transitional Skein Set from Wonka Fibers in her Ceridwen base, which is 100%. Let me pull this out so that I'm not lying to you all. 100% superwash merino. And so I have this color and then the light green as well as my body color. They are Malabrigo Sock, also 100% superwash merino, Oscuro, and lettuce. Lettuce is the fifth color that I stuck in. Then I have one more partial from this skein set. I talked to you all about worrying about how much yarn I've got. So here's my leftovers of the dark pink. I have a little bit more than I thought, but I still don't think that this is enough to do 2 rows once I get to 480 stitches on the needles at a time. So arrangements still need to be made in that regard, but no rush, no hurry, none of that. And then my light pink I haven't tightened up. I have quite a bit of that. So we'll see. Quite a bit of that. So that is my High Sierra. Oh, and what I'm knitting, or what I'm, slow down, Jess. What I'm wearing, this is Fairy Hill. So I sent this pattern to Annie, Joy-Filled Stitcher, because she does these charts for all of her knitting, and I knew that she needed a Helen Stewart in her life because Helen Stewart does the charts. And this is one of my favorite Helen Stewarts I've ever knit. I think I've knit five of hers by now. Y'all know I wear this one all the time. And so I thought that I would wear this one. Most of my knitted things are packed up as well, but I saved this and Ashburn because I'm most likely to wear them in the coming weeks. This yarn is Isn't that funny? I don't remember. I do not remember what that is. I know that the gray is Dream in Color. Oh, I almost had it. And there it went again. Dream in Color Smooshy with Cashmere, which is, I think, an 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon blend, fingering weight, in gray tabby. Oh, and this is too Electric Mauve. Did you see that? It hit. Electric Mauve is the name of that color. And then this one has just a few beads. The pattern for Fairy Hill has several options. I've knit 2 of these actually. You can do it 1 color, you can do it 2 color, you can do it with beads or without. So plenty of choose your own difficulty with this one. So anyway, just thought I would wear this one today to show you guys. So I think that is it for the knitting. I think that we're all done with the crafty side of things. So I'm gonna do a real quick Baby Does Stuff update for those who are interested. If you're not, then thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. If you want to hear about Baby Does stuff, stay tuned. It's gonna be real quick though. Just a real quick, fast update. The first thing I should say is that we are healthy. We're doing all right. We're doing good. I had my latest scan last week. So this was the growth scan. It's normally done at 30 weeks, but I was 29 weeks just for the scheduling purposes. So I am officially into third trimester. Here we are. And she's measuring exactly as she should. Estimate about 3.5 pounds at this point. So she's doing good as far as size is concerned. She's currently breech, but she's got a little bit of time to turn, so hopefully that will happen. Let's see, what else? I failed my glucose tolerance test. So many of you know I had to do a glucose tolerance test early on in the pregnancy because of certain factors such as weight, and I passed back then. I did the 1 hour, failed that, had to do the 3 hour then, passed that, no problem. The downside to passing back then just means that I had to do it again at 28 weeks. And so I did it just before 28 weeks. It was pretty close to time, and I failed. Borderline on great on the fasting level, borderline on the 1 hour, failed the 2 and 3 hour. So what that means is that I'm on a gestational diabetes meal plan, and I get to test my sugars 4 times a day. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But it's okay. I am making the necessary lifestyle and diet changes to ensure her safety. So there's that. I was eating really bad for a while there because for a while there I was just eating whatever would stay down. And apparently she never found the eject button on Taco Bell. So yeah, I was eating pretty bad there for a while. But getting that back on track now that the nausea and all of that stuff has subsided, I'm able to eat better, which is good for her sake and for mine. It's good for both of us. The upside to that puts me under the category of a high-risk pregnancy. And so that means more appointments, but it also means more scans, which means I get to see her more frequently than I would otherwise. So I have another scan coming up here in a couple weeks, just to make sure that she's still doing what she's supposed to, still growing as she's supposed to. The question on everybody's mind or that everybody asks me is, are you getting lots of kicks? And the answer to that is sometimes. I also am the fortunate recipient of an interior placenta, which basically means that when she kicks my belly, she's got a pillow in the way, which means that I don't get the same sensations that somebody with a posterior placenta would, which is more typical. It's more typical to have posterior or closer to your back. So that's kind of annoying. But nonetheless, I get movement enough to be able to know that she's still in there. So all is good. We're doing good. That was a little bit more than I meant to say, but I'm okay with a little bit of overshare. Not a lot of overshare, but a little bit of overshare. Because I know that some of y'all, this kid has a million aunties. So I know that y'all are curious and want an update. So I can do a little bit. So yeah, that is it for the Baby Does Stuff update. I meant to bring the picture. Oh, that was the other thing. There was one more thing. At the scan last week, she did not cooperate again. My stubborn child. Go figure. Bent over so that her feet were in her face. Right up here. Like a gymnast. Like just fold it over. Just. It made me laugh because I can't bend down to pick up a hairbrush off the floor, which I found yesterday. I can't do it. But she's like collapsible. Yeah. So I got a picture of her foot. We did not get the cute face picture or the thumb sucking picture or anything like that. We certainly didn't get any 3D pictures because her feet are in the way. And she somehow managed to find a way to like bend her elbows so that her elbows were like touching her knees while she's folded. So hopefully, I mean, you know, with getting more scans, we have more opportunity for some good pictures. So that is that. Okay, that is it for the update. Thank y'all for showing interest and for your messages asking me how we're doing. We are good. We're doing good. I think that is everything that I have to talk about today. There's, I think I've done enough. So I'm going to take a second here and just say thank you. Thank you for watching. Everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, make good choices. That feels like a mom saying. Make good choices. Especially with the holidays coming up. Make good choices. And as always, be kind. I will see you all in the next one.